It should. If I'm
Here we are. Here we are. It's time for GetStarched Mobility Live. Let's let everyone go ahead and hop on this link. We're going to wait a few minutes. If you are joining us for this hip mobility class, go ahead and throw down a shout out in the chat. That way we know you're here. We can welcome you. And I'm so excited to work with you guys today. Now, you don't need any equipment for a workout, but if you happen to have one or two yoga blocks or a pair of books lying around, that will be very valuable for today's class. So as always, we know it takes a minute or two for people to get on the stream, so we're going to wait about 2 to 3 minutes. We're going to let people hop on. People are already starting to hop on right now, and then we're going to get this party started. Now, if this is your first time joining us for mobility class, I would highly recommend that today or tomorrow or at some point this week, you go ahead and watch our first series in our mobility classes. It's an introduction to what mobility training is, and it's going to set the foundation for the rest of the work we do. Now, if you were with us last week, we're going to jump right into that 90-90 position that we got to last time, except things are going to get a little bit spicier today, and we're going to crank up the heat on those hips. So we got a couple people have joined. One more time, welcome, welcome, welcome. It's Tuesday, and it's time to get starched. I'm so excited that we get to work out today, guys. As always, I promise it will be the best workout of your week until we go live again. Now, one more time, I don't know who's joined the chat until you type something. So as always, you are welcome to type questions, comments. Dad jokes are always welcome. Remember, dad jokes are the best. But if you have questions during the class, go ahead and throw those down in the chat. And as always, give yourself a big shout out. We're going to wait 2 more minutes, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Hope you guys have had a great start to your week. It's been absolutely beautiful out. But today's focus is going to be all about the hips. Now, last class, we started to introduce what is mobility even about? Why are we even doing this? And we realized that mobility is strength training. And it's strength training in our end ranges of motion, which means that we're going to get into stretches and we're going to work, because to change stuff, we actually have to strength train. A lot of people are used to holding stretches passively, and that's not what we do in our class. So remember my rules. My rules when it comes to mobility is I want you to have fun and not get frustrated. A lot of the stuff we do is challenging, and it really shows you that your joints might be pretty restricted, and it can be frustrating. I don't want you to get frustrated. I want you to have fun. And I know fun is kind of an interesting term as we're cramping, burning, and all that stuff, but I promise this is worth every minute we spend doing. Number 2, I want you to give me your safest effort today. When we're in these positions and stretches, we have all different types of abilities watching the stream. You might do mobility and stretching frequently, or this might be something you've never done before. So I need you to give me your safest effort tonight, whatever that means to you. Now, just because you're giving me a safe effort doesn't mean I don't want you to give me your greatest effort. So I want you to give me the greatest effort you can give today. We're doing all internal loading, which means we're not using weights. We're using our body so you can work really hard. The final thing is I want you to learn something. I want you to learn how to take care of yourself, because one day I might not be there, and I need you to know, how do you move your body? How do you make it function better? And when it comes to mobility, all I want you to remember is mobility is flexibility, which you've probably heard before, plus strength. Mobility training is where we take flexibility and we strength train and we put them together and we get active range of motion. So I'm going to wait 20 more seconds, and then we're going to get this party started. Now, one more time. Yoga blocks are optional. I would recommend that if you pick up a pair of those, they will be very helpful for our upcoming classes. We're going to get started here in just 1 second. And once again, we're going to be doing a 90-90 hip class and doing a lot of end range strength training. Let's go ahead and get started. Before we get started, I want you to know something. When we do all these crazy, wild exercises today, it is very common and it is normal for people to cramp or to get what feels like a Charlie horse in all these muscles around the hips. What I want you to realize is you didn't pull a muscle, you didn't injure anything, it's completely normal. I'm sure you've had some ice cream before, you ate it too quick, and you got a brain freeze. We get kind of these neurological brain freezes when we stretch really hard, so I want you to realize that cramping and Charlie horses are natural when we do a lot of these movements. So don't worry, you're doing something that's safe, and it is going to be something that is totally okay, and you just got to work through it. So let's go ahead and get started. This is our 90-90 class. Of course, as always, please, you are welcome to use that chat. I will get to it as needed. We're going to get started into 90-90. If you didn't join us last week, the 90-90 position is where we're going to start with our right hip forward, and then our back hip is going to be the left hip. So the right hip is the front hip, and the left hip is the back hip. And notice how we're in a 90-degree angle or a right angle with the inside of the knee, and the back leg is in a 90-degree bend or a right angle at the inside of the knee. So what I want you to do is I want you to get into a 90-90 position with your right hip being the front hip. Once you're there, we're going to get warmed up today. And the way we're going to warm up is what we worked on last time, which is internal rotation. The back hip is internally rotated. We're going to start there. I want you to take your left hand on the top of your left pelvis, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to try to act like there's a spider crawling behind us, and we're going to just roll and try to squish that spider. We're going to leave the stretch, and we're going to roll and squish that spider. Let's go ahead and keep doing that for a few more repetitions just to feel what rotation at the hip is like. This is called internal rotation. This knee in the front can pop up off the ground, and there's nothing wrong with that. One more time. Take and roll the pelvis back, and we've got 3 more. Just warming up that hip today. And notice how when I roll the pelvis back, if I had a big Superman or Batman logo, it would rotate and twist with me. One more time, I want you to rotate, pause, and let's take 3 deep inhales and exhales from this position. So inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. We're going to start and we're going to do all our work on this hip to get started. We're going to train internal rotation of this back hip, and we're going to really focus on this foot. So what I want you to do is I want you to take your Batman or Superman logo, and I want you to rotate and twist and face towards your front knee. So make sure you take your Batman logo, and I want your chest to be facing towards your right knee. Our goal with this exercise is to try to lift this left foot off the ground as high as possible while keeping this knee in contact with the ground. So it's called a lift off. What we're going to do is we're going to start pressing our left knee into the ground as hard as possible. We're going to take a deep breath in, and we are going to try to lift this back foot off. We're going to lift this back foot off. We're going to lift this back foot off, and then we're going to slowly set back down. What I don't want you to do is I don't want you to lean forward to try to cheat. Keep your spine tall, press the knee into the ground, and let's go ahead and lift off. Lift this back foot off. Lift this back foot off. Lift this back foot off. And let's go ahead and lower to the ground. I really want you to try to touch your ankle to the top of the ceiling. Let's work. Take a breath in, nice and tall, and lift off. Lift off. Notice how we're not leaning forward. We're tall, and we're rotating the hip. I should feel this in the top of the hip, and we're lifting off. In 5, 4, 3, 2, slowly parachute down and slowly relax the muscle. We've got 3 more reps as we lift off. Try to lift this foot even higher. Try to lift this foot even higher. Press the ankle up to the ceiling. Press the ankle up to the ceiling. Press the ankle up to the ceiling, and then slowly lower. Relax that muscle. We've got 2 more reps. Lift up. Lift up. Keep the 90 degrees here. Keep pressing this knee into the ground. Lift and rotate the hip. In 5, 4, contract hard. 3, 2, slowly let down. 1 more, I want your greatest effort. Get this foot as high as possible. Keep tall. 3, 2, and lift. Get that back foot as high as you can. As high as you can. Work. Work and squeeze. Squeeze. 5, 4, 3, 2, slowly let off. Good work, guys. We're going to continue to lift off this foot as we do the twist and the shout. Your goal is to try to keep this foot off the ground as long as possible. We're going to lift off, and then we're going to slowly twist. slowly twist my chest, and notice, as I twist my chest, my foot slowly lowers to the ground. So one more time, we're going to do the twist and the shout, and I want you to try to keep this foot off the ground as long as possible. So face forward, lift off, try to keep this foot on the ground, and now ready? Rotate and twist. Rotate and twist. And notice as you twist your chest, your foot's going to barely be able to get off the ground. And once you twist your chest far enough, this foot will contact the ground. And here we go. One more time. We're going to do the twist, and we're going to do the shout. Keep the foot up. Rotate. Rotate the chest. Rotate the chest. Rotate the chest. Hold that off the ground as long as possible. We lose the battle, and we begin again. Lift off. Keep the foot as high off the ground as you can. Twist your chest. Twist your chest. Don't let the foot touch the ground. Battle. 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 Lose the battle. 2 more repetitions. I want you to work really hard as we lift off the foot. Get this guy up. Rotate the chest. Your hands can go behind you on the ground. Rotate the chest. Keep the foot off the ground as long as possible. Lose the battle. Last rep. I want you to give me everything you got. I want this foot off the ground for as long as possible as you twist your chest as far as possible. Notice when we twist our chest, we get this hip into more internal rotation, and that's why it's impossible to keep it off the ground. So we got 1 more rep. Give it your best effort right now. Here we go. Lift off. Rotate the chest. Rotate the chest. Delay this foot touching. Squeeze it up. Lift off. Delay it. Come on, work. 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 Don't let it touch the ground. Don't let it touch the ground. And into the stretch. I want you to take this pelvis. I want you to roll it back. This knee can pop up. And now we're going to get a little bit deeper into internal rotation. You're going to take your right hand above your right ankle. You're going to take your left hand above your left ankle. And now we're going to do a little bit of a bow stretch. So what I want you to think is we're going to bow with the chest, but instead of bowing this direction, we're going to bow towards this back knee. Now when we bow, I don't want you to get small. I want you to keep a tall spine. So one more time, we're bowing the chest, but facing this knee. So hands above your ankles, nice and tall, and I want you to start bowing your chest towards that back knee. Back out, bow your chest. When you bow, don't get small. Stay tall, and you should feel the internal rotation in this hip. It's a gnarly stretch, and it's a small stretch, but it is a very powerful stretch. And back out. Think about kissing your belly button to this back left knee. So I want you to kiss your left knee with the belly button as we bow in, bow in, bow in, and back out. Do not force anything, just move and contract. As we bow in, bow in, bow in, and out, and out, and out. Bow in, pull in, keep a tall spine, kiss your belly button to your knee. You're heading your chest back towards this knee, in and out. That should be in the deepest part of the hip, which we learned from last week's class is called the hip capsule. When it comes to a bank, the most restricted part is called the vault, and that's where all the good stuff is. So when we stretch the hips, we're trying to go to the deepest part, and that's called the hip capsule. So this stretch, if it feels like it's in the dead center of the hip, that's because we're going after the hip capsule. So we got 3 more. Once again, keep a tall spine. Try to kiss your belly button to this back left knee, and don't round and don't hunch. So kiss in and back and out, back and out. This pelvis should be rolling back as we do this, as we kiss in, kiss in, kiss in, and back out. If you don't feel like you're moving, but you feel the stretch increase, that's exactly what we're going for. It's just a small range of motion. Bow in, breathe, bow in, and back out. And let's get 1 more repetition, nice and slow. Move and contract. Don't just go back and forth without effort. We want to use muscular effort as we bow in, bow in, bow in, and back out, back out, back out. Awesome. If you need a small break, you can always put your hands behind you. And if your hip's screaming, we're probably doing the right stuff. Remember, you wouldn't expect money to be in your savings account unless you made a deposit. So there's no way we're going to change the structure of our hip if we don't deposit some strength into this hip. So right now we are strength training for this hip. We're going to do what we call windshield wipers, and it's going to focus on external rotation of this back leg. What I want you to do is I want you to keep your chest forward and facing this right knee. Your chest is going to want to turn and twist. We want to keep this chest facing forward. Now, the goal is we're going to try to lift our heel off the ground, and then we're going to take it back to the ground. Your toe stays in the ground as we lift the heel up, and then we lower the heel back down. Lift the heel up, and the toe stays in the ground. What I want you to do is now I want you to start peeling this knee up and away as the heel starts to sweep in. Notice how when I do this, this other knee wants to pop up and follow me. I need this knee to be actively contracted into the ground, and my chest is going to want to turn and twist. So one more time, chest faces forward. Keep this knee glued into the ground. So I want you to press and squeeze your front knee to the ground. Lift the back heel. Windshield wiper your knee out and back. I want you to act like someone's pressing down, and you're pressing their hand out as you resist them. Try to drive the heel in as we squeeze in 3, 2, and then I want you to actively lower your knee to the ground. Don't relax as we actively lower the knee to the ground. The heel is up. Toe in contact. Windshield wiper out. What I want you to do is squeeze that knee a little bit further out. Squeeze the knee a little bit further out. Squeeze. And then actively lower. Let's do some work. Actively lower back down. We lower back down. We touch the knee. And then we squeeze the hip out. Keep your chest forward and keep this front knee glued to the ground. Right knee glued to the ground. Open up. Open up. You should feel your glutes screaming as they're trying to run away from each other. And then we actively lower. Don't let gravity do the work. Actively lower. One more time. Open up to the ceiling. Open up to the ceiling. Open up to the ceiling. Last effort. Best effort. Squeeze your knees apart. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Actively lower. Don't relax. Actively lower. Use effort as we return the knee back to the ground. Let's go ahead and let's take this up another notch, shall we? I'm sure your hips are screaming, but we're just getting into them. Let's go ahead and now start to work the short side of the hip, which is going to be this glute and this glute medius, so all this stuff here. Our goal with this is to technically stretch the groin, and for this tissue to get long, this stuff has to get really short. Now, what I want you to think is we're going to be lifting the knee and the ankle off the ground this time, and I want you to maintain the 90-degree bend in your hip. So I should be able to balance a dinner plate on my shin or on my thigh without losing it. What we don't want to do is we don't want to lean out to the side for this one. So the cheat for this lift off is that I will lean out to the side. So I want you to make sure that you're squared up, that you're as tall as possible, and when we go to lift this back hip, don't shift to compensate. Prevent yourself from shifting and really wedge your arms into the ground. What this is going to look like is we're going to actively lift that whole 90 degrees off the ground, and then we're going to slowly lower back down. Here we go. Contract the glute, lift the ankle and the knee, and lift your whole 90. You can grab your front shin if you need. 3, 2, 1, and lift. Hold. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, parachute down, don't skydive. A lot of people, when we say relax or lower, they're just going to skydive. I want you to parachute down, and I want you to take 5 seconds to lose the contraction in this leg. Here we go again, one more time. Don't lean over. Lift. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and slowly lower. Lift. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, slowly lower and parachute down as soft as possible. One of the things we can do when we're training body weight, or when we're only using our body to train, is that we can increase our moment arm, which means we can extend our knees or our elbows to make exercises harder. So this next exercise is called a hip hinge, where we're going to hinge, and it's going to make this work in the hip a little bit tougher and a little bit harder. So we're going to lift this 90, and then we're going to hinge our legs straight over 4 seconds. So we call these ninja kicks in class. So these are our 90-90 ninja kicks. We're going to lift up, and then we're going to kick out, 2, 3, 4. Notice how when my leg is straight, it's not getting closer to the other leg. I still have this hip in extension. The inside portion of my foot's facing the ground, and then I kick in, 2, 3, out, 2, 3. In, 2, 3. Out, 2, 3. In, 2, 3. Out, 2, 3. In, 2, 3. Sit down like a ninja. That's probably getting pretty tough there, and you guys are doing a great job. One more time, when it comes to all these exercises, if you need to lean a little bit to make it happen, that's okay. I want you to cheat as much as you need, but not as much as you can. So if you need to lean to the side a little bit to get this back leg off the ground, that's okay. But what I don't want you to do is I don't want you to lean all the way out here to the point where it's not strength training and you're not challenging yourself. Kind of find that happy space, Goldilocks principle, not too much compensation and not too little, just enough to get the job done and work hard today. What I want you to do now is I want you to go back to our ninja kick. But this time, once we kick out, we're going to start to draw some circles. This is going to be a little bit of neuromuscular control, and it's going to show how much range of motion we have control over. So we're going to try to draw a circle the size of a tennis ball with the back of our heel and our ninja kick. Let's go ahead and lift up and ninja kick out. 2, 3. I want you to kick the leg out, and then I want you to start drawing a circle the size of a tennis ball. Go as slow as possible, and I want you to try to control that range of motion as best as you can. Draw a circle and switch directions. The size of a tennis ball, keep the leg straight. Go slow, speed hides need, in 3, 4, 5, and in, 2, 3, 4. We're going to do that one more time. I want to see if you can go even slower and draw an even better circle. If when you go to draw your circle, it's all over the place, you're not drunk, you don't need to go home because you're already probably there. But what you need to do is you need to have more control over that joint in that particular range of motion. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go back and we're going to see if we can draw slower circles that are smoother. Let's go ahead. Let's lift. Out. 2, 3. Draw a slower circle. 1. 2. Keep the leg straight. Challenge yourself. Challenge yourself. 3. Come on, come on, come on. Work. 4. This should be tough. This is not easy. 5. Reverse. 1. Don't speed it up. 2. Slower. 3. You got this. 4. Control yourself. 5. And in. 2, 3. And oh my goodness, you should be saying that was one of the toughest things we did. We have one more exercise for this back hip, and then we're going to start tackling the front guy. I know it seems like a lot of work on this hip, but it takes a lot of effort, time, and energy to change the structure and the mobility of your hips. I think we all know that, especially with how much we sit. We've got to put a lot of effort into these hips to get them stronger. So the final one is going to be called our hurdle hover, and I want you to picture, just like when we did the windshield wiper earlier, we're going to now do that in the air, and it's going to look like you're going up and over a hurdle. So watch me as I lift my leg up. I'm going to hurdle over, and I'm going to externally rotate my foot in, and then I'm going to drive my knee and foot out and back. Externally rotate the knee up, drag the foot, act like you're dragging the foot through snow and mud, as then we extend and internally rotate back. Let's go ahead and rotate the knee out and back. Acts like someone's pushing your knee down. And then rotate back, slow. Slow it down. 2 more. Rotate out and back. Drag that foot through mud. Kick, extend, internal rotation. One more. Slowest, biggest, best rep. As we go up, we drag in, and then we slowly extend the heel, and we land like a ninja. And now it's time to train the front leg. When it comes to the front leg, we are now training external rotation, a little bit more of the groin. Now, you should have felt your front leg working in all of the stuff we just did. When we do mobility training, we're doing total body training, which means that you should have felt your abs, your legs, the other hips. So now we're going to focus on this front hip, which is our external rotation. One more time. If you struggled with all this stuff in the back, that was internal rotation and then abduction. When we go to the front, it's external rotation. So this should help you understand what your goals are for your own personal mobility. We're going to go to the front hip, and we're going to do a little bit more of my favorite game, and it's called Hold It. Now, we're going to drop down to the elbow here, but here's what I want you to do. I want you to avoid this knee popping up. When we play our next game called Hold It, this knee is going to want to pop off the mat. So notice, this is what we want to avoid. So if you need to block this off with your hand, please do. And the hand that's going to do it is your closest hand, which for in this case would be our right hand. What I want is I want you to reach over, and we're going to grab our foot and we're going to externally rotate it. Notice how when I do that, this knee stays on the ground. That's very important. We're going to grab our front foot and we're going to pull up into as much external rotation as possible. If you notice, this back knee is in the ground. I don't want this knee lifting off the ground either. Pull into as much external rotation as possible. If you need to, you can block your knee with the top hand. What we're going to do is we're going to try to let go of this foot. Your foot wants to drop and smack. I want you to use muscular effort, and I want you to squeeze your external rotators, which are high in the groin, to try to prevent that. What we're going to do is we're going to take out that foot as high as possible. We're going to block this knee, and we're going to try to play Hold It. Ready? We're going to let go of our foot. Do not let it hit the ground. 3, 2, 1. Hold it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Notice, now we're going to try to squeeze out even more passive external rotation. So really see how much external rotation you have. If when you go to grab your foot off the ground, if you can't get this foot off the ground, you need to work on external rotation when it comes to our stretches. We're here, we max out external rotation, both knees in the ground. 3, 2, 1, hold it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Even higher. See how high you can get your foot and how far away from the ground you can hold it. 3, 2, 1, and hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, slowly lower down. That should have been one of the most challenging exercises we did today, and it's pretty eye-opening. One of the things you'll see is people either can't get their foot off the ground, which means they don't have much range of motion at all, or they can get their foot off the ground, but then it plummets to the ground, and that means they don't have any active range of motion. Some people might be somewhere in between, but for most people, it's pretty eye-opening how much we struggle with external rotation. Now we're going to play my favorite game, and this is probably one of the most challenging ones in today's class. I call it the rocking chair of death, and here's how it's going to work. We're going to go back to that position. We're going to be on our elbow. We're going to hold it. And then I'm going to try to walk myself upright and hold this foot off the ground as high as possible as I rock and I hold the contraction. So I'm not relaxing. I'm still holding that same contraction, and then we're going to rock back down. So here we go. We're going to rotate. We're going to hold. And then I'm going to slowly prop myself up. And as I do this, this foot should drop. This foot should drop. This foot should drop. I should feel the burning in the groin and the adductor. That should be on fire. Relax. Back down. The rocking chair of death. Here we go. Rotate. Hold. Rock yourself up. Hold. Rock yourself up. Hold the contraction. We're still working here. We're still working. You should feel this up in the deep rotators. Relax. One more. As we go back down, we're up. Juice out as much external rotation as possible. Don't just pull here. Take out all the slack as long as your knees stay in the ground, both of them. 3, 2, 1, and hold. And rock. Rock yourself up. Keep holding the contraction. You're still working here. You're still doing the same contraction. And relax. That is one of the toughest movements, and you should feel that deep in the external rotators. So in last week's class, we worked on stretching the external rotators in our front 90-90. So when I bow forward in my stretch, those are the muscles you should feel when you bow forward and pull yourself deeper into the stretch. If you didn't watch last week's class, just go ahead and watch last week's class. We've got 2 more movements on the front hip, and then we're going to switch sides and we're going to repeat the sequence for our 1-hour class today. So now we're at the front hip, and we're going to be doing hinges here. So we're going to lift off this front leg, and then we're going to be kicking out to what we call half 90 or hurdlers. So I want you to go ahead and lift up, and now we're going to ninja kick in front. 1, 2, 3, 4. In, 2, 3, 4. Stay off the ground. Out, 2, 3, 4. In, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4, and then land with your toe up and keep the back leg 90. This is going to be our new stretching position when we get to our half 90 class or hip flexors and hamstrings next week. This is called the hurdler stretch, and we have internal rotation for the back hip and then a hamstring stretch for the front hip. It's going to be one of our base stretching positions. What I want you to do is I want you to get up. I want you to feel your hips. They probably are screaming at you right now, or you're screaming at me. Don't worry, I can't hear you. And I want you to move around. I want you to get some water if you don't have water with you, and we're going to take a 2-minute little kind of just break. And I want you to get up, move around. Your hips probably feel worse, but remember, to change stuff, we have to change stuff. If we don't work, if we don't strength train, we don't actually change the structure of the hip for long term. And most of you, if you're being honest, probably say, Taylor, my hips, my knees, my spine, my shoulders, my wrist, whatever joint you're thinking of is probably not where it needs to be, which means that we have to acknowledge that we have to change something. That's why when we hold passive stretches and we don't do any work and we just sit here for 30 seconds, it doesn't fix the problem because you're not changing anything. Yes, you'll feel a little bit looser. Your shoulder might hurt a little bit less, but you didn't change anything. So that's the biggest difference that I want you guys to understand. So if this feels like the hardest leg workout you've done this week, it probably should, because we are strength training in all of our stretches. We're going to take about 20 more seconds, then we're going to flip and flop and repeat our same sequence with the other hip forward. So now our left hip is going to be forward. So the left hip will be an external rotation, and the right hip will be the back hip, which is an internal rotation. I know that no one's typed any questions out, but if you do have any questions, please throw those in the chat, or you can always message me personally to ask for any clarifications. Remember, this workout is for you. This is designed to not only lead you guys through a workout, but to teach you. This is how we go about training our hips and really getting them to rotate well. The end goal is not to get better at 90-90, it's to get hips that rotate and function better. We just happen to use the 90-90 stretch because it's a very easy stretch for people to begin with, and there's so many options, and at the end of the day, most people can do it without any equipment. So I want you to not fall in love with the 90-90, but fall in love with hips that rotate. Because when your hips rotate, they're doing their job, and it's going to make your life a lot better. Hips are supposed to rotate, and that's what we talked all about last week. We're going to flip and flop. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to give me the same effort on the opposite side. I know you're thinking, whoa, 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 my hips are getting pretty tight here, but I need the same effort, I need the same intensity, and I need the same focus on the opposite side. Here's the truth when it comes to mobility. It's very easy to sandbag, and it's very easy to give it kind of a half-hearted effort. Mainly because most people have never stretched this intensely before. So what I want you to do is I want you to give me an honest effort. You're the only one there, or maybe you're with your family, or maybe your spouse. So you're the only one who knows if you gave a good quality effort. And I want you to truly, truly, truly give me your best effort for these next 30 minutes because your hips, your body deserves the best effort. This is not for me. This stream is not for me. It's for your shoulder, it's for your hip, it's for your ankle, it's for your body. I need you to live in something that is valuable for the rest of your life. So let's go ahead and switch sides, and then we're going to get started. So left hip is forward. That's left hip external rotation. Right hip is back. Make sure you have clean 90s. What a lot of people do is this back leg's kind of lazy. They have this leg kicked in, so we don't want this. We want clean 90s, and I want you to make sure that we're tall and upright as we take our right hand on our right hip and we start to roll and wind up that pelvis. This is internal rotation. The back hip, squeeze your butt forward, roll and drop this butt back towards the ground like there's a spider there you're trying to squish. We rock back out. We roll and rock back down. Remember, this is the goal of 90-90. The goal of 90-90 is to rotate the hips, so I'm reminding you what our goal is. Let's go and rotate and stretch. Back out. Rotate and stretch. Boom. Rotate and stretch. This is just warming up that hip because now we've switched positions. All right, we're going to be doing our liftoffs for the back leg. This is internal rotation liftoffs. Let's take our chest. Let's turn it forward. Let's have a tall spine. Try not to lean forward. Push this back knee into the ground. Take a breath in and lift. 5, 4, drive the ankle up to the ceiling. 3, 2, 1, parachute back down. Parachute back down, slowly lower that leg. Take a breath in and lift higher. I want you to try to get a millimeter higher every rep. Up. You should feel the opposite leg working hard. You should feel your abs, your obliques. In 3, 2, slowly lower back down. Make sure that if you had a cup of coffee in front of your hips, you wouldn't be spilling that coffee forward. Keep your spine tall, push your back knee in, breath, and lift. Keep the 90 degrees. Make sure you're not kicking your heel to your butt. 90 degrees at the hip, lift, internally rotate the hip and lift. 5, push the ankle up, push the knee down. 3, 2, 1, and slowly parachute back down. Take a breath in, push the knee in and lift higher. Get that leg up higher. Lift, internally rotate. This is from the hip, not by leaning forward, not by throwing the hip forward, by rotating. 3, 2, slowly lower down. I don't want you to be comfortable with just getting the foot off. Get this guy as high to the ceiling as possible. I need you to give me a max effort here. Push the knee into the ground, lift the ankle as high as possible, contract. Don't just hold, contract with me. Contract and squeeze all the stuff that you can think to squeeze. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and slowly parachute down and relax over a 5-second count. 2 more. As we lift higher, contract harder, squeeze. Let's strength train. 3, 2, 1, and then slowly parachute and slowly relax. 1 more effort. We don't have weights, so we've got to become the weight. We got to work hard. And lift. This should be your highest and best effort. Work hard. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then slowly lower down. It's time for the twist and the shout. We're going to lift off. We're going to try to maintain that lift off for as long as possible as I rotate my chest back. As I rotate, my foot's going to fall to the ground, and then we're going to lose the lift off. So here we go. Chest forward, lift off, and now rotate. Remember, your hands can be on the ground. Hold the lift off as long as possible. Hold the lift off, rotate the chest, and lose the battle. Notice how every time that pelvis is rolling back further. Chest forward, lift off, hold the lift off. Hold off as long as possible. Rotate the chest. Rotate the chest. Rotate the chest. And lose the lift off. Back forward. Lift off. Hold the lift off. Hold the lift off. And now rotate the chest. Twist. Twist the chest. Twist the chest. And notice, once the chest twists deep enough, you're going to lose this battle. We've got 3 more. Fight for as long as you can. Here we go. Lift off. Rotate and twist. Rotate and twist. Rotate and twist. Hold the lift off as long as you can. Rotate and twist. 2 more. Back up. Turn the chest. Turn the chest. Keep the lift off. Turn the chest. Keep the lift up. Turn the chest. And boom. One more. I need your greatest effort. Please give me everything you got. Do not let that back foot touch the ground as you get your chest as far behind you as you can. Here we go. Last lift off. As we lift off, rotate the chest. Rotate the chest. Come on, guys. Max effort. Max effort. Max effort. Max effort. Don't let that foot rest on the ground. Don't let it rest. Work. Fight it. Fight it. Fight it. And down. We're going to go with that distraction next. Remember, the goal of this is we are bowing towards our back knee. We don't want a short spine, and I want you to take your belly button and kiss your back leg. So we've got right hand above right ankle, left hand about left ankle. Turn your chest and try to kiss your knee with your belly button. Don't get small as you bow. Bow in and slowly out. This is a very small but powerful stretch. Bow in and out. Do not force anything. Move and contract. Move and contract as we bow in. And press yourself out. Never relax as you work. Rest during the rest. Work during the work. As we contract in. Don't get smaller. Get taller. And back out. You're trying to kiss your belly button to your right knee. As we bow in. Kiss your belly button to your back knee. That gets this hip deeper in internal rotation. You should feel this sucker all the way in that hip capsule, the deepest part of the hip, and back out. Bow in. Bow in. Bow in. Remember, this knee can pop up. We don't care about that right now. And out. Bow in. Bow in. Tall spine. Tall spine. Tall spine. Back out. Now, a lot of people, when they do 90-90s or internal rotation, say, Taylor, I feel that all in the knee. It hurts my knee. It hurts my knee. It hurts my knee. Number one, this is a great opportunity to realize when your hip doesn't rotate well, it really impacts your knee. So if you feel knee pain when you do this, it's probably because you need more internal rotation at the hip. Let's go ahead and now let's do our windshield wiper. So you're taking your back heel, you're lifting it up, and then we're windshield wipering out. Remember, I want you to picture that someone's trying to push your knee to the ground, and you're pushing against them to create your own resistance. My chest wants to twist. Fight the chest from twisting and push your left knee into the ground as we windshield wiper out. Out. Notice how I'm dragging the heel in, and then we actively rotate and touch the knee to the ground. Heel is off. Let's go ahead and rotate away. You're squeezing this glute. You're pushing out. You're pushing out. Don't let the chest follow you. Keep your chest facing your left knee in the ground. Squeeze the glutes. Glute salute. And then we're down. Don't relax. Work here. Work. Act like someone's pushing your knee up. Work down. Work down. We need buns to defeat the Huns. I think that's how it goes. As we go out and away. Out and away. Give me your best effort here. Act like you're fighting. Fight your hip open. Windshield wiper. Windshield wiper. Open the hip. Both glutes are on fire, even though Adele's not singing. As we go open, and then we're back down. Back down. Back down. Let's open the hip. Come on. I need you to work. I know I'm not there, but I am here with you on this screen, and I want you to give me your best effort, just like we were here person to person in class. Work, work, work. Rihanna. As we open up the hip, fight, fight. If you want to add a little manual resistance, that's fine. Fight, fight. Try to delay this knee. Don't let this knee come up. Don't let this knee pop up. Open the hip and squeeze. 10 seconds. Work. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Do not relax. Lower the leg and actively bring it to the ground. Okay. Now we're going with our next series. Remember, our next was our liftoffs for abduction. So you should feel the glute working, and technically we're stretching the groin. This is going to be a lot like that banded glute work that you've seen or done on the internet before. Remember, keep the 90 degrees. So I want you to maintain the same height as the knee and ankle, and you can balance the dinner plate on your shin or thigh. We're here, and the biggest cheat is I don't want you to lean out. Make sure you're tall and upright, and we're lifting from the hip. Back hip lift off for abduction, and we're lifting. 5, 4, 3, 2, parachute down. Parachute down. 5 seconds to relax the muscle. 5 seconds to relax, and back up. Make sure when you lift up, your knee doesn't pop forward. The knee stays back by the armpit. We're up. 5, 4, 3, 2, parachute down, 5 seconds. Make sure you're staying tall and you're not leaning out to the side. Press yourself up and lift. I'd rather be you just a little bit off the ground than cheating to get higher off the ground. In 5, 4, 3, 2, slowly parachute down. We've got 2 more on this hip. Come on, guys, we're almost there. Almost at the end of the class. And we lift up. Lift up and work. Don't just hold, contract. I need you to contract and squeeze. Don't just hold your legs. Squeeze every muscle you can. And slowly lower back down. Here we go. And lift. 5, 4, 3, 2, slowly lower down. We're going to have 1 more today. Let's do 1 more. Best effort. Get this guy as far away from the ground as you can. 3, 2, 1, and up. Get it up. Get it up. 5, 4, the floor is lava. 3, 2, 1, and then slowly back down. It's time for the ninja kicks. I want you to channel your inner Bruce Lee, and now we're going to kick that leg straight. Remember, as people kick the leg straight, that leg wants to sweep forward. Make sure your leg stays straight, the knee contracted, and we're back in hip extension. We're going to lift up, kick out, 2, 3, in, 2, 3, out, 2, 3, leg straight, in, 2, 3. Come on, you guys got this. Out, 2, 3, work, in, 2, 3. 1 more. Out, 2, 3, in, 2, 3. Set down like a ninja. Now at this point, your hips are talking to you. That's a good thing. It's a good thing to work hard. It's a good thing to work on stuff you might not be good at or you struggle with. That is good. It is good for us to work on stuff we struggle with. So if you feel like this class is one of the hardest things you've ever done, good on you. Way to join the stream and way to work on stuff that we all need to work on. Every single one of us could use a little bit more hip mojo. Now let's draw our circles. I think you guys remember this one, so we're going to get right into it. As we lift up, we kick out, 2, 3 from the heel. 1, 2, 3, 4, slower. 5, reverse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and in, 2, 3, 4. It always has to be one of the toughest challenges. A lot of people think you're not able to train endurance when all you have is your body weight and you don't have any weights around the house. Absolutely. Not only are we training neurological control, we are getting some awesome endurance benefits to these outer hips. So if you're a runner, this is one of the best things you can do for this outer hip and glute. We're going to go back. I want you to draw your circles even smoother and even slower. Challenge yourself. This is between you and your hip. I'm just here to set the party up. So here we go. And we're out and out. 2, 3, work. 1, slower. 2, 3, 4, you got this. 5, if you're not shaking, you're faking. And 1, opposite direction. 2, 3, 4, 5, and in, 2, 3, 4. All right, guys, we have one final exercise, as you know, on this back hip. Then we're going to clean it up with the front hip. Let's go ahead and do our hurdle hovers on the back hip. Remember, you're acting like you're resisting your own hand as we go up and we hover out and back. Out and back as we hover in, and then we externally rotate back. This is what the hips do. The hips were designed to rotate. So draw the knee back and scrape the inside of your foot through mud as we kick and rotate back. Try to keep that knee in the same position as we rotate out and back. Squeeze. Don't just move. Squeeze. I need you to squeeze. That's how we create tension in the body, is by squeezing all the things you can find. That's your hip. That's your abs. That's your arms. That's your foot. Anything you can find to squeeze, I need it. As we got one more. Hell, you could even squeeze a ketchup bottle. I wouldn't be upset. As we go here, and we're in, and then we rotate out, and we set down. If right now you feel pretty fatigued and tired, well, we're doing our job. Remember, mobility is flexibility plus strength. So right now we're strength training, so it should feel like one of your hard leg workouts. We're going to go to the front hip, and we're going to do those holds. So I'm going to flip and flop. We've got those passive range holds, or our hold-its for the front hip. Remember, both knees stay in the ground. The front knee wants to pop up. The back knee wants to pump up. I want you to keep your knees into the ground. Let's go ahead. Let's lift this foot. Max out external rotation. Remember, if you can't get your foot off the ground, you need to work more external rotation. If you can get your foot all the way up here and it just drops to the ground, you need more mobility and active range of motion. So we're going up to the ceiling, and then we're going to hold it. You got this. 3, 2, 1, and hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and slowly down. Should be absolutely brutal. Work hard. You can do this. Up. You should notice you get a little bit more range of motion. 3, 2, don't let that foot drop a millimeter. 1, squeeze and hold. Hold, squeeze. 5, 4, 3, 2, slowly parachute down. Don't relax. Don't relax. Now relax. You see how it's easy to give up right when we get that little last bit of work. Work to the very end. One more rep. Give me everything you got. Then we're going to the rocking chair. As we go up, come on. You got this. Challenge yourself. Challenge yourself. 3, 2, 1, and hold. Squeeze everything you got in this hip. Everything you got. 5, 4, 3, 2, slowly lower, don't relax, slowly lower, don't relax, don't relax, don't relax, don't relax. All right, relax, just do it. Okay, maybe not. No one's laughing, except for K. Rush is laughing. I know you're laughing, K. Rush. I know you're laughing. All right, guys, one more time. We're going to do our rocking chair of death, which is where we try to maintain that hold it as we rock up to a tall position. Back down to the elbow. Externally rotate. Let go. Hold. Hold the contraction as you rock yourself up. Rock yourself up. Hold the contraction. Hold the contraction. Hold. Keep holding the contraction. Hold. 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 And relax. Ooh. As Rick Ross would say, oh. And we rotate back up. As Scooby-Doo would say, whoa, Rocky. That was really wrong. Okay, as we go, 3, 2, 1, and hold. It's probably while I'm still single. And we hold. Hold, rock up and hold. Rock up and hold. Rock up and hold. Hold. I know it feels crazy. You got no strength there. And hold. Relax. Don't worry. Your foot should be on the ground at that point. You're still contracting even though you feel like you got no strength. Here we go. Last round, rocking chair. We're up. 3. Come on, guys. This is the finish. Finish strong. 2, 1, hold. Rock. 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 Fight as long as possible. Fight as long as possible. We're still trying to lift and hold. Lift and hold. Get tall and upright. 3, 2, 1. Relax. Remember, that's the short side tissues. That's your external rotators. That should be deep, high in the groin. They're very, very weak on people. No one trains the external rotators in a short position, but guess what? You just did. That's how we get starched. So at the end of the day, now we're going to do those adduction kicks where we are now in our front leg. We're doing our kicks, and then we're going to go from there. So let's go ahead and lift and ninja kick the front leg. As we lift up, kick out. 2, 3, 4. In. 2, 3, 4. Out. 2, 3, 4. In. 2, 3, 4. Out. 2, 3, 4. In, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, land. One more time, guys. This is our new stretching position. It's called the hurdler stretch, but we're going to call it half 90 because you can see we still got the 90-degree stretch in the back hip. This is a lot deeper internal rotation. So if your internal rotation is not great, I want you to spend more time doing the stretches from this week's class in class number 1 to develop the internal rotation you need to get into hurdlers. Now notice the hurdler stretch is hip rotation on the back and hamstring and hip flexor in front. So when we get to next week, we are going to start to develop the strength in our hip flexors and our hamstrings, and that will be next week's class. But I wanted to introduce you guys to the half 90 or hurdler stretch. You're going to be seeing this again. It's a great stretch, but can be absolutely brutal. But this is called the half 90 stretch. And what I want you to do is I want you to kick your back leg straight. I want you to shake it out. And I want you guys to realize you just did your best workout of the week, which was our hip 90-90 class. I want to thank you guys so much for coming to this virtual class. I hope it was helpful. I hope you learned something. And I hope you really got the chance to work hard and get after your hips. The most important thing to remember is if you want money in your bank account, you have to deposit money in there. If you want these hips, these ankles, spine, elbows, wrists, whatever joint you want to change, you have to do work. That's something that we accept, but then when it comes time to do the work, a lot of people aren't there. But guess what? You showed up today, you clicked this link, and I'm proud of you for doing that because this stuff is messy, and if you really struggle today, that is okay. Most people have been taught if you hold a stretch for 30 seconds and you don't do anything, that's all you need. We now know that's not quite the truth, and it didn't quite work, but that's okay because we're here now and we're doing work. So I want you guys to be able to go through this class again whenever you need to. The replay will be available, and as always, any questions, just call or text me. And we're going to now head up into the spine. So next class is going to focus on spinal mobility and how we get going when it comes to rotating, twisting, bending, and extending. All that fun stuff. I hope this class was valuable. I hope you had fun and you didn't get frustrated and you gave me your safest and greatest effort. I'm proud of you guys, and as always, get starched. What?